Hey, what's up everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we're doing the what's next on JaI Opetai, the now former IBF Cruiserweight World Champion, undefeated fighter at the 200-pound cruiserweight limit, following a dominating first-round knockout victory over Ellis Zorro on the Day of Reckoning supercard that took place on December 23rd on DAZN pay-per-view. Now, before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So Opetai, the week of the fight, got stripped of the IBF title controversially. Bad call by the IBF, forcing Opetai to because he wasn't fighting a mandatory challenger who wasn't ready, mind you, in Maris Bradis. They decided to strip him of the IBF title for fighting a guy outside the top 15. It was the biggest payday of his career, fighting on the supercard in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So I understand why Opetai did what he did and continued with the fight. The IBF stripped him. I thought that was in poor taste and very unprofessional, but it is what it is. So now the big question is, what's next for JaI Opetai following the victory over Zorro? We know that he's returning in the spring, most likely back to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, as I believe he signed a 4 or 5 fight contract to fight out there. Now, let's run through the top 10 and see what potential opponents could be out there. We start with former champion in a rematch, Maris Bradis. Well, he was supposed to fight Bradis for the IBF title next. I think there's slim chance that the IBF changes their ruling and names Opetai one of the top 2 contenders again, and allows the fight to go forward, the rematch with Bradis for the vacant IBF belt. But I hope they do. I hope they wake up and do that, because they've made a couple poor choices this year, and this was a bad one with Opetai. Then there's Badou Jack, the former WBC champion. He's pretty much moving up to Bridgerweight next, so I'm not seeing this one. Chris Billam-Smith, the WBO champion. I think Billam-Smith might be down to fight him, but Billam-Smith has to go through Richard Riakporhe next. I think he's going to end up fighting Riakporhe in a rematch, in a mandatory fight in his next bout. So Opetai, I don't think Billam-Smith can be next. Maybe after that, him and Billam-Smith can get together if Billam-Smith beats Riakporhe, but I don't think it's going to be before that. 1 second. Then there's Richard Riakporhe. Again, I think Riakporhe is going to go for the rematch with Billam-Smith. And then if he becomes world champion, he might entertain Opetai as his next opponent, especially if the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia gives him a shitload of money to come over there and fight. But as of right now, I don't think that fight happens next. Then there's Lawrence Okolie, the former WBO champion. I don't think Opetai would be afraid to fight Okolie, but it might not be the best matchup for him right now, given the fact that Okolie lost to Chris Billam-Smith, and Opetai is trying to get back into a world title shot. Maybe he considers Okolie, but I'm leaning towards the less likely. Then there's Alunga Makabu, the former WBC champion. He got wasted and knocked out twice this year. He got dominated over 12 against Badou Jack. Then he got wasted against Noel Gavor. I don't even know if he's still in my top 10, my updated one. But I don't think Makabu would want Opetai, and Opetai might not want Makabu either, as he's coming off of 2 losses. Tabiso Mashunu, the former world title challenger. I think if Opetai cannot get a world title shot next, I think a guy like Mashunu would be gold for him, because he's a guy that's been in the ring a couple times with what's his name, with Makabu. Fought him tight both times. The second fight was just last year in January 2022, and he lost a controversial decision there. So Mashunu's been waiting around to get an opportunity, and I think Opetai could give it to him, and he'd definitely be the favorite to win. We'll see. We'll see if that's an option. Then there's former 2-time champion Yunier Dorticos. Well, Dorticos seems to be next in line to fight Arsene Goulamirian for the WBA title. The WBA has ordered that matchup. Dorticos is the #1 ranked contender, so I think that fight's going to happen next for Dorticos. That means he wouldn't fight Opetai. Then there's let me see here, one sec. Then there's Arsen Goulamirian, the reigning undefeated WBA champion. Just like I said with Dorticos, I believe Goulamirian is going to be in mandatory mode. He already is. It's already been ordered. He has to fight Dorticos next for the world title. So right now, you know, we throw some of the other guys in the mix. There's Joe Smith Jr. There's Gilberto Ramirez. Gilberto Ramirez looks to be the next guy in line to fight Maris Bradis, and I think he'll cash in on that and fight Bradis. I think all the titles next might be sewn up except for the WBC belt. Noel Gavor is the newly crowned champ. He won the belt in February. We know a mandatory fight between Ryan Rosinski and I think Duo Dola is supposed to happen next. And they're finalizing that fight, but that doesn't mean that they wouldn't allow Gavor to potentially make a mandatory or to make an optional defense first. And Opetai, I think, would be totally down going after a world title. So, for me, in the top 10, Opetai might not be able to get a top 10 guy. But I do think fights with WBC champion Noel Gavor is possible. I also think a showdown with Lawrence Okoli could be possible if they both wanted it. Tabiso Mashunu is a good matchup as well, but I'm not sure he gets any of those belts. So, he might be throwing himself just back in, taking on a guy rated in the top 10, trying to move up the rankings. But we'll see what he does. So that's it. That's what I got. That's my what's next on the undefeated and former Cruiserweight World Champion JaI Opetai following his dominating first round knockout victory over Ellis Zorro of the United Kingdom on December 23rd, the Day of Reckoning Supercard. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.